Hey, what's up? It's All Access Live, and I am John Samuel. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I am here today with a very special guest. We have Angus Kola, who is a digital accessibility analyst at Ablr. So, welcome, Angus.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on the show there, John. And it's always a pleasure. And, you know, um, I'm so incredibly fortunate for working with such an amazing team. And I'm always so absolutely appreciative for the opportunity of making a difference in so many lives as far as accessibility is concerned.
That's awesome. Thank you, Angus. One of the reasons I wanted you have you on today is that you're the newest member of Ablr. I think you joined how many months ago?
Um, I joined in August the 23rd last year.
Oh, so you're going 6 months, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Time
Yeah,
time flies.
it does. It does. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you and just you share your own experience and your accessibility journey is because I want people to know that Ablr is really about not just about a single individual. It's about the collection of our team, the different stories. That's what makes our team so unique. And I think I often talk about how accessibility isn't just a line of code, but it's actually about people's experiences. And that's why I wanted to have you on because, as a new person to our team, you're probably your accessibility journey is relatively different than mine, right? I've been in this accessibility. I mean, our it's we're all doing very similar things, but I really wanted to get a better understanding of like how you got into accessibility and kind of what drove you there.
Um, so just to a little bit of a history and background here is that in the beginning, I was a person that didn't really have a sight impairment, and I lost it later in life. And I was not even aware of accessibility back then.
Yeah,
And for me, basically, my perception, growing up in South Africa, I've always, I've never known that there was anything for those who are visually impaired or blind, that there was any type of technology that they used. I didn't think it would be possible for anybody to have, some sort of an independent life. For me, it was always, unfortunately, a person, either standing on the side of a street begging for money or what have you in a
yeah,
third world country. But after I lost my sight due to a very tragic accident that happened back in 2006, um, I lost my sight, and I kind of felt that my life was kind of over, and there's nothing that would ever be ever the same as it was, and my life was pretty much going to be the way that I perceived life to be for a visually impaired or a blind person or
yeah,
anybody with a disability. So I met some very inspiring people. After losing my sight, people that you know, had different multiple types of disabilities that were actually successful, and I didn't feel that was me. um, One thing that happened was is I actually had to get motivated again, and I had to get independence training. And then I began to realize that you know a blind person or any person with a disability can have a chance as time went
yeah,
on. um, so I got into a program um, that allowed me to work in a call center environment. I learned
oh,
how to
yeah,
use JAWS and how to use a screen reader again. But unfortunately, as I kept working in this field, it began to get more challenging because the systems and the programs that we were using, um, I found was not accessible anymore. They were becoming less and less accessible, and our functionality on the website was becoming fewer and fewer on the
yeah,
intranet. And I was like, oh my god, this is hopeless. This is just not going to work. So I kind of lost my job because the contract was terminated at the RNIB and British Telecom and Vodafone. So
hmm,
I got to move over to the United States, and um, basically I got into a production type of a role because I kind of gave up hope at that time. I was like, yeah, there is technology out there. Yes, we will do things with limited abilities, but this is what my life is going to be like. So I worked at a sweatshop in Charlotte for about 5 years until a lot of people started talking to me, and they're like, Angus, you should definitely try to pursue technology because you know, I would help people with any type of AT problems that they had as far as like with an iPhone or a computer and whatnot. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try to go to college and see if um, if that would be a possibility for me.
Yeah.
So I went to college at a community college, a local community college in the Piedmont area, and come to find out that the placement tests were not accessible. I didn't have any Braille format. Basically, I didn't have the accommodations that was required of me.
Yeah.
So I went in there with the assumption that I was going to try to place in a college, but because of red tape and because of accessibility and what have you, they placed me in life skills at the life skills building, which is where I had to basically try to get my GED, and there weren't any accommodations or anything for me, and I'm like, there are the blind and visually impaired people getting through school. Why
Yeah.
am I not able to? And I quit. I gave up and I left. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm just gonna work in a sweatshop forever, and that's where I went. And then you know, a disabilities person called me from the college and he reached out to me and he's like, well, we're going to try to make accommodations here for you. We're going to try to make everything accessible here, and we're going to try to accommodate whatever it is that you need, and we're going to do it the right way. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. What do you mean? And it's like, well, we're going to make sure that we have the test available for you in Braille. We're going to have a screen reader installed on the computer, and we are also in talks with the learning management system company that we're using because we have an accessibility plan and we want you to use that system because we believe it's accessible and you're going to have a fair chance now at coming back to college. And I was like, great, this is
Yeah.
fabulous. I went back and I got through the placement test and what have you, and I used the system and I was really impressed. And come to find out, I did so well that I got placed into college level English. Whereas before, when things were not accessible, they placed me into developmental reading, and essentially they told me that my reading and math skill was that of a fourth grader, but
Hmm.
that wasn't really
Yeah.
the accurate measurement. The only reason why they did that for me is because things were not made accessible for me, and I was in an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
So as I started taking classes at the college and I got enrolled, I started noticing that through distance learning, a lot of instructors had great material out there online, but the biggest problem is that you know nothing was formatted in an accessible format.
Yeah.
So I complained and I met up with an instructor and we were talking and he's like, hey, you know what? We have an accessibility plan and I'm going to put you in touch with the instructional design person just to see, if they can help you out here with
Yeah.
the courses because I'm trying to make my class accessible. And when I had a talk with the instructional design person, she was like, hey, you know what? I want you to, come over here and work for us and learn about accessibility and then test out the systems so that we can review it and we can collaborate with instructors to hopefully help other students who come down the line to make sure that the classes and courses will be accessible for them.
Yeah.
So I took the position. It was part-time, and I actually lost count of how many courses we actually reviewed. I mean, we reviewed classes anywhere from like, massage therapy
Yeah.
to, advanced mathematics. like
That's awesome.
statistics on the college level,
Yeah.
to English, to even electrical engineering and chemistry. And then somebody was like, hey, you should try to grow in this field and see if there are other positions available for you out there. And I looked around online, but the prerequisites, they were kind of daunting, and I was like, is this possible?
Yeah.
And because I was working part-time, and by this time I graduated with my associate's degree, I was like, well, there must be surely more out there. I'm going to try and see if there is, customer service positions out there. And that's how I stumbled across LCI. And I made a phone call over there, and I spoke with the switchboard operator, the front desk lady. Her name is Kola, and she was like, hey, you know what? We're actually looking for people that can do digital accessibility. And I was like, well, that is what I do kind of here at the college where I work. And that is how I came on board with Abler.
Yep.
And I will say that, like I've mentioned in the beginning, we have a phenomenal team, and each and every member of the team is just so knowledgeable as far as accessibility is concerned. I am learning something new every day. The possibilities and opportunities are endless, and this is an amazing career to be in. And what a time, John! What a time to be in such a fantastic career. I never thought that this is something that would ever be possible ever.
Yeah.
When I first lost my sight, and now I'm actually realizing, and I'm actually working in the field that's making a difference in something that affects so many of us every day.
No, dude. I mean, I love it. I mean, I love it. I think. Thank you so much, first of all, for being vulnerable and sharing your story, because I know it's tough for a lot of people, right? And
Yes,
you
yes,
know, but the failures and challenges that you overcame, I think that's what people need to understand, and that goes back to why accessibility is not a line of code, but it's the stories like yours. It's your experiences, going to college, and you know, somebody who had a career before and a career after, being told that you have only a fourth grade education level, right? Because the systems just weren't accessible. I mean, think about what that could have done to some people, right? That could have knocked a lot of people's just confidence level down.
exactly.
But your resiliency to be able to bounce back is what is, you know, that's the attributes of people that many people I've met who are blind. The resiliency that we have, the problem solving skills. I mean, what company does not want those skills in a team member, right? But yours is very unique, and I'm just so thankful. We are, as a team, we always, the way that you were able to fit into the team seamlessly was wonderful. And as you know, we have our core values of growth mindset, relationships, and relate. How do you relate to other people, initiative, and
Yes.
trust. And when we were interviewing people before you, we had some really good applicants. But I think when we met you, you exemplified grit. And so I'm super, super happy to have you. And so, I know that you have been super active, in the accessibility space, but also, you've been, you ran a marathon recently. I mean, you did like a 5K, right?
Yes, yes. This was at the college that I worked at, and where I got my associates. I am an alumni there, so we did a 5K for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we want to go promote accessibility and diversity. My pilot that I was running with was actually the first police officer female uh,
Mhm.
at the college.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you mean, like, you doing these type of things. I know you've also been trying to put together, you went and spoke at the Moorhead School for the Blind. Like, I mean, what does it mean for you to be able to go out and represent in that way, going out and doing the 5K and speaking at these events? What's driving you to do that? What's your hope for that?
My ultimate goal and hope for being able to participate in runs and being able to speak about accessibility is is just the awareness. Being able to make people aware of the challenges that we have, and to make them aware of that, you know, we have the abilities of doing so much more despite our disabilities. That all you have to do is just be inclusive, and if you can be inclusive, um, then you can incorporate us and not leave us out.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like, here in Raleigh, I swim at the Millbrook Exchange,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are like, wow, how do you do it? And I'm like, I've been doing this for a very long time. And they ask me, what do I do? And I tell them why I work. I tell them I work for Able and I'm an accessibility analyst. And they were like, what exactly is that? Because it sounds absolutely cool.
Yeah.
And I explain it to them. And a lot of these people that I'm speaking with that actually swim at the exchange pool tell me that they work for a lot of government agencies, like, on the state level, like, some of them work for like the EPA, some work for, different boards. They work for the municipality, they work for the
Yeah.
state government, like Social Security, social services, a lot of state roles, and they're like, wow, yeah, we need a lot of that in our organization. A lot of them say we do have diversity, equity, and inclusion, but they say it's not enough. And
Yeah.
it's incredible when you get to speak with people, and when you just let them know about your abilities and capabilities, because it lets them know that we need to be inclusive, and we need to do the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I think your story resonates with people because, like, when I hear that professor, that story that you talk about, who then connected you to the accessibility plan, right? It seemed like there are other people who talked about the accessibility plan at that college, but they didn't think about bringing you into the fold. But it was that one professor who said, "I want to make my class accessible, and let me make sure that you're connected to the right people." What do you think it is? What is it? What is that trait about that individual who actually does something versus sees it as just a compliance issue?
He absolutely is my ultimate favorite professor ever.
Yeah.
He's an incredible guy. And being a sociology instructor and somebody that works in human services, he's like, yeah, we definitely need to do something. We have to make something. We have to make our classes accessible. And when I graduated at college, one thing that I was really proud of is that this gentleman, this instructor, Mr. Michael Brian Bookout, he actually got commendations, for all his accomplishments as an instructor at the college,
Yeah.
especially when it came to inclusion, diversity, accessibility, um, and all the works. And he taught a lot of different classes, and I believe now he's actually the dean. So
Oh, really? That's
of
awesome.
of of of, uh, of the human services department now. So you can already tell where most of the accessibility is going, and how much of an initiative it is now at the college, and how
That's
in
wonderful
full
to hear.
swing it is.
That's wonderful to hear. But as we wrap up, I mean, you've had so much experience working, being a student, navigating that whole system, getting out and still, working with them. I know a lot of folks would have given up. I failed out of college and I had to go back, and I never talked about my vision loss. And when I did my MBA, I didn't know how to advocate for myself, and there were sometimes I had a lot of inaccessible documents, and I had to watch Khan Academy because for statistics, for instance.
Hmm.
But what are three takeaways? What do you think that education, universities, community colleges, and schooling? What do you think three things that they can do to help make sure that um, students have an accessible and accommodating experience?
I feel like the first thing, and most important, would be the awareness of everything. So they need to be aware of that. They're going to have different students come in and try to apply to take classes at the college, at the institution. So they need to be prepared for that. So I mean,
Yeah.
they need to know about the different abilities um, of different students. Also, I feel like they have to have a plan, just like the college had. Um, the community college, they need to have an
Yeah.
accessibility plan. Um, and also, I feel like instructors need to be more open um, to incorporating accessibility into their courses.
Yeah. That's great. So
You know,
awareness, planning, and actually doing something about it,
yes,
incorporating that plan. And once you have that plan and you have that awareness, I think those are three wonderful things, because I think that translates to not only education, but I think every business. But
exactly.
yeah, but Angus, I just want to thank you for taking the time to share your story, for the work you do, and the impact that you've had on my life, and I'm so thankful.
Thank you so much as well. I appreciate you guys for the opportunity. Thank you for being my Abler family, and I'm just I'm just very fortunate. You know, never been the most fortunate person in the world, but I do feel lucky being part of such an awesome team.
Wonderful. Thanks, Angus. And
Yes, sir.
thank you, Annie, for our wonderful production. And again, everyone, we will be back in a couple of weeks. And if you have any questions for Angus or want to, learn more about Angus's story, just reach out, and we will definitely, put you in touch, because I think it is, it's these stories why accessibility is important to us. And I hope that it shows you that proximity does build empathy. And I hope that we can make some changes together. But again, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Thank you.